Master Championship Final. We're here to determine who is the best of the best. Of all the best of all the best. And stuff like that. Hang on a second. Ah, there you go. Now we're in business. We had a slight technical difficulty there, but things appear to be back in order. As I was saying, and maybe I already said it twice, this is where the best 16, or sometimes less, Spellweaver players come together to see who is the mightiest of them all. So we got 14 of the 16 with about 20 minutes to go. And as has been somewhat slightly traditional, we've been frequently running with less than 16. Usually one person gets into traffic or something. They can't come. Whatever the case is, something happens like that. But you know what? We move forward anyways, because that's what we do. So we will be following our typical structure, where I'm gonna run my mouth for about 20 minutes. Then once I'm done running my mouth for 20 minutes, we'll be taking a break while I apply the 10-minute stream delay, at which point it will return and, well, the show will begin. I am eager to see who the next great champion is going to be. We got a few new faces here. We got some old ones, of course. Cruel Tech, Laurentiel, always here. Sphex, Uska Fanafa. I remember seeing his name from the list. I don't see his name here. I'm guessing he's one of the people who is currently missing. Empty slots are chosen from audience. What? That would be pretty fun. Fan favorites. The forums vote on their 2 or 3 favorite people to play, regardless of tickets. Yes, Cruel Tech is level 70. He does play a lot of Spellweaver. Did you know that? Did you know that Cruel Tech plays a lot of Spellweaver? I didn't know that. I thought his level just like spontaneously increased. Or I thought Cruel Tech got like a 10% from everyone's fame that that is ever earned goes to Cruel Tech. That's why he's so high up. Oh, we got Uska Fanafa. That's pretty good. And right, Warrior Mage. That's the other person. I was trying to remember who the 16th was, and yeah, Warrior Mage is the one. So that's pretty good. Now, if we get 16, that's gonna be interesting. Although 15 is perfectly fine for the purposes of having a, well, you know, a balanced result. You will get a 4-point winner as long as you have at least 14. It's when you have 13 or less, or if somebody drops in the middle, that you can get some unusual results. But looks like we're gonna have a nice full buffet 16-player battle today. So hey, big news on the horizon, right? Everyone is talking about the upcoming balance patch. IFCO did mention on the forums they want to do it after Masters, as is traditional for them. They don't like to do it before, although I think it'd be really funny if they did, because then, oh, we got 3 days before Masters, and like 10 cards have been changed. Oh my god, what's going on? Who can adapt the fastest? That would be pretty interesting. But, of course, he's not going to do that. They want to be fair. So this will be the last, I mean, probably the last time we have the meta of Priests, Grand Reunion, Dragon Combo, Aggro, and Chickens. I say probably because I don't actually know what the changes are going to be. Of course, I'll be reviewing them in a video as soon as I know. But until I do, we're speculating. We could actually spend the next 10 minutes talking about what are some potentially really good nerfs or buffs. You know, doing a little bit of both would be pretty good. No reason why we can't have both. Well, the Dream Reactor doesn't like to, like, mess up people's studying and practice with decks by changing, like, cards right in the beginning. Okay, yes. Chicken is the #1 card most likely to get changed. I think so. Slave Gladiator. I think if you want to go after aggro, Slave Gladiator is probably the biggest offender because it's 0 mana. Whereas the 1-cost cards are annoying, but they cost 1 mana, right? It's Slave Gladiator that allows you to push for really strong tempo plays. So we'll see. But there's any number of things because developers do the testing of their own. They probably try out various things. And a general rule to follow is if you want to change things, you want to do it by changing as few cards as possible. You don't want to like change like 30 cards suddenly, unless you want to completely rework the meta. But when you change that many cards, you often just end up creating different problems. So I don't think we want to do that. We want to kind of like slightly hit the good stuff, slightly buff the bad stuff, and then see what that does. See if that's enough to keep things more interesting. If it's not enough, you push it a little bit further. But you don't want to keep going back and forth between overpowered, underpowered, overpowered, so on and so forth. We'll see how many cards they go for. I'm guessing maybe 10? 10 cards? That would be pretty nice. I think 10 cards can definitely go a long way. We know some of them will be heroes, right? So if you're talking heroes, Basic Despina is definitely a candidate for getting reworked, along with Burke, because Burke is slightly terrible right now. And I don't know about Coronis. I would like to see Coronis slightly nerfed, so that it's not as good in Limited. I think if you just make his cooldown 3, it's not going to affect Constructed that much, if at all, considering that these Implant decks now have Field OP if they want to fill their turn 3 play. Like they don't need to be able to summon Raven every other turn. Yeah. Advanced Alexa, I think, just needs a little bit of support. I don't necessarily think it's bad hero. It's just that the angels are not really a strong archetype right now. But keep in mind, if they make too many good angels, it could become OP. If you can put like 24 angels into your deck, then the hero power would be absolutely ridiculous because it's always gonna hit, almost always gonna hit, and put it immediately on the board. Advanced Darius versus Coronis in Limited. It's an interesting one because yes, Advanced Darius is quite good. However, Advanced Darius needs to build up to get there. The hero power will do nothing if you lose the early game. It's slightly win more, but it is super win if you are in that situation, which is why it's a strong hero, because you can break these powerful stalemates. We'll see. You make an interesting point about having heroes literally only be made for one deck, and this is the case with things like Basic Alexa as well, because it's the synergy with soldiers. Though to be fair, summoning Militia can be, beneficial, so it's not as limited. But Advanced Alexa, I mean, it's an advanced hero, so I don't think it's necessarily that big of a deal, especially since you have Hermelian and Basic Alexa to work with. Or you can just pick a different hero if you're splashing colors, so you don't have to have all 18 heroes be like flexible and like exciting. And actually it's going to be 19 heroes once they introduce the expansion, possibly more in the future, but I mean realistically, how many heroes can they really have? I think it's there's going to be a limit on how many heroes they can realistically have, and 18 is already a lot. I think you just work with, now if they add the 19th here, which is going to be either a neutral or like a multicolor. Yeah. Exciting times are ahead. The 15 new cards, I'm sure they'll be pretty impactful. So I'll do my typical spiel for Masters, starting with, well, we're going to check out the pot. It is $266, which means, as always, somebody donates. Somebody's always donating in these things, which kind of fills my heart with hope. But as always, the pool will continue to accept donations until the very end of the tournament. If you want to check out some mystery boxes, you can get some cool card backs and really any number of things. You might get really lucky and get a box if you feel like gambling a little bit. Maybe RNGesus is on your side today. Head over to the marketplace and get a few. And of course, half of any purchases go to the pot, which will then be paid out. So that's pretty cool. Now, predictions, right? Now, as always, I'm going to predict Cruel Tech because I feel like it's just inevitable that Cruel Tech is going to win. It has to happen. Like, it's a law. It's basically impossible that Cruel Tech doesn't eventually win. But, you know, it's been eluding him. Laurentiel is also another safe pick because he's one of the most experienced players. Could win any of them, really. But there's a lot of solid players. Sphex and Uskar, both pretty experienced. We've got Vanguard X, who I have not seen before. I have no idea who that is, actually. I don't even remember seeing his name anywhere. Maybe it's up and coming. That's good. Other than that, Z-Moon, I'm trying to remember. I had most of these names memorized pretty well. Adref, for instance, I'm pretty sure has played. And guys like Duel, and I believe Adam has played as well. Mr. Medai has played. A lot of these guys are recent. So, you know, it's interesting to see, like, the population kind of shift. Whereas early on in the Masters, we had a lot of the pro players, like, kind of hogging the scene back when the prizes were a bit larger. And then we have seen them go away. And we see, like, a lot of newer people coming in. And as always, every single time, there is at least one new face. It's always interesting. I'm sure eventually that'll stop, where we'll have a Masters where every single participant is someone who has been in a previous Masters. I can't imagine that we'll just keep getting new and new people. But, you know, it's 10 tournaments. Still getting new people, and pretty awesome, if you ask me. Anyways, we got 10 more minutes. Warrior Mage is still not here. But somebody mentioned in chat that he is online. So there's no reason why you wouldn't play. I mean, you worked pretty hard to get that golden ticket. Get in on the action. Take your best shot. As far as decks, I'm expecting mostly the same lineups. The proven... No, the tried and proven decks, such as the various aggressive decks, Harmelian Priests, Kyana Grand Reunion, and Dragon Combo. And we'll see if anybody decides to be creative by running things like Molten Passageway. That would be awesome. I want to see if anybody brings Molten Passageway to the party and starts pulling out Bezaroks and Elgarons. That would be pretty exciting. Other than that, the Centaur is a card that seems like it's likely to be played in some deck. It seems to be really good. Field OP, obviously, even if not in current decks, is going to be played somewhere. Oh yeah, Shamans is another deck that's been making a decent showing. Molten Passageway could be played. I think that kind of deck still needs to be worked out properly to see exactly what flavor you want to go with. As for the other ones, Pegasus Regiment I don't expect to be played because it's not a bad card, but doesn't follow any of the plans that the current top decks have. So it doesn't fit into any of them, so I don't imagine it'll be played. Pegasus Regiment will probably be more likely played in like a new deck, maybe after the patch. Amon's Ritual I think is a bad card, so I don't expect it to see anywhere. And then Inherited Wealth actually is better than I originally thought, because for whatever reason, when I was reviewing it, I assumed that the first ability of searching out a slave is a once per turn. I don't know why, so I figured, okay, so you'll get a freebie gladiator every turn. That's awesome, but actually, it's not once per turn, so you can actually get like several. And since they cost 0, they don't take energy from the wealth, so you can just keep putting them out. Like, you play it, and if you have a couple of mana, you can just pull them out. You know, you can also pull out a Minotaur, because that'll be 3 energy. So, I don't know, do you just run 1 Minotaur and 4 Slave Gladiators? Is that how it works? Or do you run 2 Minotaurs and hope they don't fall next to each other? Or do you run 2 Minotaurs and, like, some way to boost energy so that you can get both of them out? Some interesting stuff. Well, let's see. I mean, we'll see if people play. The Minotaur has been seeing more play thanks to the Summoner Druid, because you can push him out turn 2 the same way you could push out Haldiri back in the day by playing double Summoner and getting a 4 mana discount, essentially it being played for free. Pretty good stuff. We'll see how much of that stuff... Whoa. We'll see how much of those decks will be, you know, played after the patch. We'll have to see exactly what the patch hits specifically before we figure that out. If there's a lot of nerfs, it may open the way for some other decks. I actually don't want these decks to be nerfed too hard. Oh, hi, Mr. Joelback. Yes, thank you. The fedora is very nice indeed. It's very comfortable to wear. It's even got a cool feather on the side. Oh, this side. There's a cool feather, just so I can show it off. Good stuff. Anyways, 5 minutes to go. I'll take this time to remind everyone that I'll be putting on the 10-minute delay. It is 10 minutes now, so the stream will stop for 10 minutes while the delay catches up, and then, well, 10 minutes and like 20 seconds or whatever it is these days. And then we'll be rolling. At that point, of course, my interaction with chat will have to cease, other than putting down random memes in chat, which I'm sure I'll still be doing. And then we'll be going into business. 4 rounds between the best. Well, Warrior Mage's got to hurry up if he wants to get in on this, because he's only got a few minutes, and we'd like to see like all 16. Whereas with 15, the missing person is just gonna be the buy. Like you're gonna pair with it, and then it's gonna keep pairing down. And with 1 buy, everybody in the tournament will get at least 1 point, because the 1-0 will be the buy, right? So at the end of the tournament, everybody gets a point, right? Isn't that exciting? You always get a point. Even if that only point is indeed from a buy. But hey, it still counts, right? Get a point just for showing up. That's pretty good. Okay. If I want to make a funsy prediction, because I always make the reliable one with Crueltech and Laurentiel, I'm gonna throw out a funsy prediction. What do we want? Whoops. Vanguard X is one I could go for because he's new in the tournament. And actually, I don't know anything about him, so hey. Maybe Sphex? Although, I mean, calling him a fun prediction is not even really fair, because Sphex is an experienced player, so he's just as likely to win as anybody. So we're gonna go with Vanguard X as my funsy prediction, because I have no idea. Clearly, he made it to the final, so he's good, right? You don't get a golden ticket by luck. So there you go. My safe bet is gonna be Crueltech. My funsy bet's gonna be Vanguard. Sorry, Laurentiel, not betting on you this time. You already won twice. You don't need more. Meanwhile, Crueltech his rage is building as he covets the crown, which has eluded his grasp so many times. And of course, the customary giant mug of water, not vodka, to keep my throat nice and fluid for the next few hours. as we prepare for the beginning. Actually, it's kind of an end, because after this Masters, next Masters will be played in probably a different meta. We'll see just how much different based on the changes. But I imagine there'll probably be more good decks that are playable, and that's good. If there's like 7 or 8, good viable decks, then there'll be a lot more interesting matchups going on. Now, one more thing I want to do before the patch hits is I am planning an amusing little video that'll probably point out just how stupid I am, which is always important. It's important to remember one's mistakes. Hopefully I can sneak it in before the patch, and even if not, it's not the end of the world. So we've got 2 minutes. Looks like it's gonna be 15 after all. Had a good chance to be 16, but as always, life happened, and when life happens, well, somebody doesn't make it to the tournament. Because life doesn't care about Spellweaver's Master Tournaments, and it should, because it's a very important thing. Spellweaver Master Tournaments are necessary. Okay, so as soon as actually, there's still 2 minutes before the round actually begins, so I'll wait a little bit longer before I cut off the stream and we start the 10-minute delay. We got some Spheaks fans calling his name. Well, we'll see. I mean, Spheaks, like I said, is an experienced player. He's been in the tournament before. Could he win? Sure, of course. I mean, in theory, any of these guys could win. Although, some of the newer guys probably don't have quite as much experience with the little details as the guys who have been doing this for who knows how long. Who knows how many hours of his life Crueltech has devoted to this game. I'm guessing it's a lot. I'm going to go with a lot. Level 70 is pretty high. Alright then, so that's that. Registration is closed. We are going to launch with 15. Oh, good enough. 15 is completely fine. And once we get some matchups, we'll get rolling. Anyways, I'm going to cut the stream now. See you guys in 10 minutes, give or take. And the battles will begin. Place your bets. Well, not really. Like imaginary bets. Winner gets an extra cookie or something. See you in a bit.